daily update TV so. And then I will share you made in on subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share and for comments so and share comment section. My ready burn now I can wait phone. I should phone in one entry. Martin Kwebu and a cousin they say ECG. They just say ade come corruption e kufuor no abusuafo enimu bi eno nti ma World Bank so intervene se omo audit kufuor no abusuafo because ECG abra say oko twem ECG bi am say ECG is at lost and the ECG is bankrupt because ni na kufuor no abusuafo nti no lawyer Martin Kwebu asema wo kan say electoral commission electricity company of Ghana no Akufo-Addo no abusuafo ni ho bi nti no World Bank nso ayɛ our debt wo mo nti no abusua nkuti we nsɛm bi a wadrop ya me ho sɛ World Bank our debt Akufo-Addo loot and share what the sika a wɔwia na gye sɛ ɔmo bosi ɔkɔbɔ nyinaa ɔde bɛ share ɔman ni dwumadie mu no a ɛnwie bɛ World Bank ba bɔ wɔde and as a wɔde no because na a corruption be a cost war electricity company of Ghana as you all know say Akufo-Addo abusuafo nyina involved. God bless you.
Use their money. Those who are coming wants to get new ones. You can't. When it's a case of lack of supply in the system. Yes, because the demand is so much. So I think that there must be a link between what you earn and what you produce. And you can't say that you haven't given me something to produce and therefore pay me. That one I agree with.
And this is why I bring in Lawyer Matipebo because we've had it at some point that the government pretends to be paying the government, the worker also pretends to be working. Something must change.
Yes, Kufuor's this statement, I think he had running with the workers TUC.
Yes.
Yeah, when he was in office and then he said it, Yeah, so you see, these things we are saying, we are all saying the same thing. In one word, we are all saying we want systems to work.
Yeah,
if the systems work, these things will fall in place.
Indeed.
But from what we are all saying, the politicians are not allowing the systems to work. We are also contributors because as soon as they take office right now, you see that we need jobs. So people can, this job for my nephew, this one for my cousin, so you see, it's become a chicken and egg matter. You see, otherwise, look, we've known all this. You think ECG, how can ECG make losses? How can you convince me that ECG should make losses? No,
I just don't understand.
There is no, so we just need that thing that, look, free the hands of the ECG CEO. Okay, not too much political interference. And also the procurement. Let's have an independent board that will scrutinize. Look, ECG, they want to buy this. It goes from here to there. People are adding their own margins. I'm telling you that ECG's number one problem is corruption. You saw the audit report. Dubik was asked. Before that thing happened, we heard it. We knew that ECG was under-declaring. If you went into the industry, you hear that only Akufo-Addo, listen, and some other people and the MD knew how much ECG really made. They were under-declaring. Then finally the World Bank came in. So the World Bank pushed for the audit. And the audit revealed it. Now Dubik was asked, you were under-declaring. Is it a crime to under-declare? How? Is it a crime to under-declare revenue? Can you imagine? So I'm telling you that this matter of ECG, corruption is the number one problem.
Yeah.
All right? People close to Akufo-Addo, his family members, where the people buying fuel for ECG. Who was checking whether fuel was really delivered or not? Ask ECG. People close to Akufo-Addo's family. Where the people buying fuel? Yes, I'm telling you.
You know that how?
You check. Fuel. Ask them who was buying. The company. Who owns the company?
What should I check?
Akufo-Addo's relations. You know, so listen, look, let's stop this privatization thing. I like what Jay said. Let's drill deep. The real problem is corruption, is thievery. Thievery that is causing most of this problem. So if you want to get
how are we going to stop the thievery? That's the issue.
So that's the noise we are making here. You see, we are all making noise. We are, I mean, when I say noise, I mean a positive. We are being exactly. I like that. So right now, as we are talking,
when the first step is to stop every prosecution.
Oh, there's some of the prosecutions, Prof. They were bad. At 214 soon. Godfrey didn't do it. He was coaching a witness. Asking the witness to lie.
And the court found out.
The court will not always be right. You think the court... You don't know.
If you don't believe in the court, it will not always be fair.
Exactly.
I don't like that.
If you undermine the court system, we are all dead.
If you don't raise questions to against the court some of the time, they will reform, please. So you always need a bit of skepticism.
Yes.
I want Lama to be able to make his point.
Okay.
I'll come to you when your time is up.
So
how do we fight or address this?
So all right. Thank you very much for reminding me, Dr. Tukuno. It's all right. So we'll recover all the loot, implement, enforce the law. Enforce the law, because I was telling you that elsewhere, government is getting more into business. Thatcher, who came and told us, hey, privatization, neoliberal economics, privatize, cut down, structural adjustment, this. They themselves, look, there is British, Business Bank. British Business Bank just set up recently to give loans to their own companies. They are setting up. You go to the North Sea where they do the oil and gas. Government is supporting other sectors of the economy. Go to the US, you find government in there, right? So this thing about, let the market work, give to private companies, it's not on the table. We are not going to allow here.
The economists don't say you don't allow the market to work. No, the market
the system. Exactly.
You see,
Dr. Tukuno mentioned, I'm landing.
You see, the issue about corruption, you said this is thievery.
It's thievery, that's our main problem.
The fundamental concern here is, if that's the case, and I asked this question because you had a mandate to fight corruption somewhat in this administration as well. You've done your work. You are done. But after oral, how do we prevent? That's what Professor Kwame, as I was saying, Operation Prevent All Loot. After oral, OPAL. How do you expect this corruption or thievery to be fought by this administration in the coming days?
Good. So we've started, right? That's what we are doing around this table.
Sunshine campaign.
Exactly. Naming and shaming, and even Bugatti. Said Phantom Sky Train. There's so we are doing the normal things that are to be done. And if we did those right, we would make a lot of progress, right? So tying all of this in, what we're saying is that, please, it's not esoteric. Our main problem is thievery and the political patronage. These are the things. Thievery and political patronage. If we were to do the right things, we will make progress. I mean, ECG can't make such losses. You see one of the cases that Ufuriata is wanted for. There was a company that ECG had engaged to help reduce the losses. And it's one of the areas of OSPs investigating on corruption. Corruption came in there. A company brought in to help reduce ECG's losses. Then that company said corruption. You see that it's just like UK. There was this anti-corruption minister, Tulip, about a month to a month and a half ago. Tulip was appointed as linked to Sheikh Hasina, the Bangladeshi former prime minister, blah, blah. Long story short, they thought that no, there was corruption around her. She herself had to leave. So the point, so you see, even the UK, where they are ahead of us, they are fighting corruption. Corruption minister herself was suddenly smelling corruption. They had to kick her out, right? And then bring somebody else. So the point I'm making is that the fact that we fail doesn't mean we should stop. Yeah. I like what Dr. Tukono said. We can't just say privatization. Me, I've told you, people have shown rise and fall of the neoliberal more into business. Let our government be there. But let the system work. So, let the system work. And that's what we are doing now. And I like this example. Let's keep quoting it because it motivates us. Today, JM has put in 60 ministers. Didn't this conversation start over 20 years ago? Check. Ekufuor came, yes. Atamils came, all of them. Then gradually there were promises. But today, GM is delivered it. Yes, at least the fact that the main minister is 60. Professor Addo, the point I'm making is that public opinion is one. Yeah, so one other thing we are not putting up in our discussions is that we forget that society takes time to evolve. So we need to give ourselves a bit of time. Effort. Okay. But in terms of the effort, leadership. I think we are, and leadership, in terms of the effort, I think we are pushing now than ever. And the results of the elections tells you that citizens are pushing. No, because who could have dreamt NGC beat MPP by 1.6 million in Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana? No. I remember not too long, 2 decades ago, MPP to attend NDC people, University of Ghana. If you were NDC, they used to attend meetings in the night. Yes. Dead of the night. It's very true. To crawl to attend. When we were in school. Exactly. Just more. But the point in all of this, I'm saying, is that society takes time to evolve. Look, I've read a lot of American history, right? This election stealing, corruption, it's the same. And even the private sector, people are saying privatize. Let's use one example. I was on that point when I was distracted. I left it. Dr. Tukono mentioned how Obama used socialist ideas to re-engineer the collapse of the market, right?
The housing collapse.
Yes. What caused it? Was it not greedy capitalists? What did they subprime lending? What caused that problem? They saw people who weren't qualified for loans, and yet because of greed, gave them loans. A self-fulfilling prophecy. So it was only time, and then the loans would go bad. Yeah. So here we are preaching that suddenly the businessmen are the angels and the private sector the devil. It's not true. It's human beings. Public sector is made of the devils and the private sector are angels. You can't get it. When you say that, then we don't even appreciate who private sector people are. Very greedy for profit. Yeah. Very, very greedy for profit. A typical businessman is there to make profit. He's not there looking for the public good. So when you keep saying privatize, no. Subprime lending. The whole of the world was thrown into economic hardship, right? As early as 2007, 2008. The housing crisis, that collapsed bank, Merrill Lynch, Bears and Stern, etc. collapsed. It was socialism that eventually saved them, as Dr. Tukuno made the point. But so human beings are greedy. It's neither private nor public. It's about human beings and the systems working.
The management the system certainly.
Ghana, the loans, the private, the banks, we had to collapse. Of course, we don't agree. But we see Oforiatta and the MPP did that to punish opponents. Right. But don't you see some of the things that the banks were doing? They were taking liquidity support and using it for other things. And you are saying that the private sector is better than government. It's a human beings and the system.
So I won't mention the name of the organization because it's a private sector organization, which I happen to have the privilege of being on the board 6 years ago. 3 years, they were making losses because the corruption, the inefficiency, the attitude, which removed the chief executive. There were, I think, 6 directors. All of them, within the short time, were changed. They moved from a loss-making, a small company, first year after that, 1.4 million. The second year, 6.5. The third year, 24 million. And they are in the fourth year.
Was it a financial institution?
I won't mention. And the fourth year, which is this year, they are projecting to come with 40 million. The same organization.
That was making losses.
Making losses. So therefore, if we will allow the system, and let me confess that I don't, at this moment, have the confidence that our government, even the new government, will be able to deliver on that system. But if they do, I will be thanking God for John.
That system of having political appointees who may not have the right.
Yes, but oftentimes, even when they are, it's not so much. Yes, oftentimes they do have it. For example, I don't think that those who have been removed and those who are being replaced, if you look at their CV, they are not qualified.
So then what's the problem?
But the question is whether they will be allowed the room to work, the performance indicators held accountable, and then be judged, not allowed to get away with it. So there are
the accountability.
You are telling President Mama not to appoint you.
Yes, because
He has given his test.
if you
appoint me, don't interfere.
you can't interfere.
Give
So
me,
if
give
we
me
all
my
keep complaining,
performance.
No,
Don't
but
change.
tell me this is what I want you to do.
If I do it,
Quite there, I will hold you accountable for results. But to come tomorrow and come and say, Doc, dear, you know, she's a party member, put him here.
No.
I says, no. And that is, for me, that's
So
my
that's
position.
what happened at GRA.
No comment.
But you see, then.
But yeah, I wasn't a chief executive. I was a board chairman.
So you acknowledge that there's a problem of underperformance.
Oh yes,
Losses.
you Gaganchua, even trade union want to take me on about productivity. But I said I don't accuse you. The productivity is a fact.
So
It's a question of who is
is the direction
So you see, it's
of
the
how
next,
we are
no,
making
no,
the
Mr. J,
argument.
Mr. J, I'm going to come to you. That's the next step. So if you say that you, for instance, have the political appointees who may even have the right qualities,
Yes.
there's no interference.
And
But then also,
must be held accountable.
men must be held accountable. How about ensuring productivity? How do the public sector workers themselves also come in? Because you might have the right leader,
Yes.
not having the right
No,
kind
the
of-
public sector, for me, here, let me come to a defense of the civil servants. When you go to a department, the average Ghanaian, unfortunately, is within this culture that Dr. was talking about, about human and other things. But let me tell you, the same Ghanaian, when the head of the department comes to work on time, expect you to do certain work. And also he's given the right to hire and fire. And not say that, you know, when I came to Gimpa and I said that people must leave, they said that we are public servants. And I said, please show me your letter of appointment. None of your letters of appointment said you are a public worker. You said that you are appointed to this office, you can leave by giving notice for 30 days, and you can. I said, where does it say that you are a public servant, that you are assured of your job? Any system that does not allow the one in charge the right to hire and fire, because you know the right to hire and fire is not absolute. Because if you dismiss somebody unjustly, he will go through
Labor Commission.
So when we say right to hire and fire, that means that, you know, arbitrarily, Steve, now they say it doesn't like your face, go. If you take that one from the leadership, you are going to have a system not work. But at the end of the day, leadership is cost. Whom you put there, the conditions on and other things. When you go to, there are certain. Let me give an example. I think that to a large extent, the transformation in DVLA on the Busia, as Kesi Busia, was tremendous. I mean, it wasn't a perfect example, but it was a public, DVLA is not a private institution. So, probably he could have done more if there were no interference. I don't know the details there. So, the public sector can be made efficient with the right leadership, right condition, and reduced political interference, and then the leadership being held accountable. How can you be in an organization, make lawsuits, and then they pay? Even some of them have the audacity to pay themselves bonus.
Yes.
Bonus out of a loss. I mean, come on, please. Let's go on to another person.
I can't wait for near for you know what the daily updates you give you the best 24/7. Subscribe and share the for comments share to media na sema today they be no everybody bread I can't wait for any for United. God bless you. Stay tuned, stay connected.